Hello everyone, this is Junker's Review, and today we're going to be reviewing The Pope's Priest, Exorcist. The Pope's Exorcist stars Russell Crowe, Daniel Zovatto. They played the priest.
So Russell Crowe played Gabriel and Moore as the Vatican top exorcist pretty much.
He was a real person. You didn't do any research?
I think
what did it say, loosely based?
The guy existed. He did perform exorcisms. Other than that, this movie wasn't. I don't think it was based on anything real.
Really, you could think about it as this was a propaganda movie for the Catholic Church, because in this movie they find out that the priest that created the...
No, don't give that away. I know what you're about to give away.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah. Where he was headed. He was called to do an exorcism of a person that really wasn't possessed. And it was an unauthorized exorcism, which didn't make sense to the story, because if he was the Vatican's leading exorcist, why did he have to ask permission?
We're talking about the first one with the pig, the boy.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I thought you were talking about the girl. It takes a minute to get... There's a boy that they thought he was possessed. And
he wasn't a boy, he was a man. This guy was older.
Yeah, this guy was older. And he's probably in his late teens, early 20s. He did some tests and he realized that he wasn't possessed. So he had them bring in a pig.
Because he was called in front of that panel. If he was the Vatican's leading exorcist, why did he have to ask these people permission for
Okay, this whole panel that we speak of, we're not going to speak of it hardly anymore, because...
He was just the Pope. He wasn't... They never knew... He wasn't John Paul 1, 2, 45. He was just the Pope. And he really wasn't in the movie all that much.
And apparently these people outruled him on...
Is not believing in evil anymore. And Gabriel absolutely believed in evil.
What is that on the end of the table? Was that there when I left?
Why? Is it a rock or a frog? I don't know.
Or is it a big thing of poo that landed at something pooed on the...
Let's just go with the video.
Oh, sorry, that distracted me.
The Pope talks to Father Gabriel, and they're both like, these young guys, they don't believe in evil anymore. The funny thing about him riding around in all his girth.
On a Vespa.
Yeah, it's like this little scooter thing.
It's a Vespa.
It looks hilarious. Okay, they're not going to know what a Vespa is. Right?
Everybody knows what a Vespa is.
And it cuts to this family in Spain that had inherited this mansion.
Okay, now he was in Vatican City.
That had inherited.
It was a former abbey, a 15th century abbey. Her husband had just died, and then she inherited it through him. This thing, it's a giant mansion. It's something you would.
The kid ends up getting possessed. His mom at first takes him to the doctor, has all these tests run. It's your standard exorcist type movie with, the kid, the possessed person, their voice changes. They, I'm going to kill you, that kind of thing. Henry was the possessed kid.
Yeah.
From now on, he's Henry.
Yeah, he's Henry.
So Henry gets possessed, and eventually, somehow, who knows, the Pope finds out about it and dispatches Gabriel. Henry tells his mom, bring me the priest. So she actually goes and gets the local priest to come. The local priest, Father Escoe, he comes out, he just gets his ass kicked and thrown through, and this happens like 4 times to this guy. Then somehow the Pope ends up finding out about it. They dispatch Gabriel. And that's the rest of the movie. It's a standard exorcism movie. You find out basically that the demon is an incredibly powerful demon. Was pretty much responsible for one of the most heinous periods of time in European history, really. Really, the demon was after Gabriel because he wanted to pretty much infiltrate the church.
Yeah, because that's what he did once before. This movie has got some very funny moments. Russell Crowe is excellent. Yep. He's a funny, wise, cracking. His character even says one point, he goes, you got to have sense of humor is the best way to defeat the devil.
The other priest did a good job with the acting.
Yeah, he acted well, but his character was just slapstick. And the actor who played Henry, he was really good.
So
now, there was another actress in it, Amy, who plays Henry's older sister. She's teenage. They played her as a typical teenage girl from America.
Yeah. Well, and she was over the top hostile to her mom.
Yeah.
I didn't like that either. When the demon gets going, I mean, it ends up going after him. Two things about this movie were too close to Marvel movies for me. One thing was funny. At the end of the movie, after they had dispatched the demon, big surprise, they just,
I know where you're going.
yeah, I mean, then they start talking about all these other
There's
demons.
There's 117 or something demons that were ousted from heaven and landed on Earth. And apparently where they landed is where they stayed.
Yeah, so the way they made this movie is I was sitting there and I nudged you and Donovan while we were there. This is irrelevant. While we were there, and I was like, holy shit, are they talking about making like a Exorcist cinematic universe out of this? Are we going to see like, crossovers?
Okay. And, that's exactly how they set it up.
I mean, it totally made me think that. I really thought they were going to do it. Now, that was a positive. I would have liked to have seen that. That would have been funny.
He's a frog. He's been around. It is a frog. He's done spun around.
I would absolutely go see. Whatever. I would absolutely go see Russell Crowe do this role again.
Oh yes.
I mean, but now the thing I didn't
like they do in all these movies, they get this budget and all of a sudden it's a bunch of CGI stuff in the movie that didn't need to be there.
Yeah, the third act of this movie ended up being kind of a CGI mess. Will you quit interrupting this time? That's his frog.
Okay, up with the frog.
He's not
fascinating. There's a frog from somewhere and just sitting on the table with us and just hanging out with us, and he's just moving around. See. Got our first live audience member. It's just hilarious.
All right, I'm
now get back. Okay, we're not in frame. You got to turn the camera on.
What?
I mean, recommend it.
If you're slightly into this kind of thing, I would go see it. It's not the best. The third act of the movie really. I thought the whole battle with the demon thing was kind of ridiculous.
But one thing I did like about this one, the way they did the child, the demon, they didn't have him do crazy head. Yeah. They didn't have him act crazy. He was more methodical. And when he did something, it wasn't he actually acted out physically toward other people and injured other people. Click like, subscribe, and leave a comment. You know, the more I think about it, the more I like that movie. The where he had to go in front of those idiots.